Have you ever really, and I mean really, looked at a dictionary entry? Today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're taking one single, simple word, example, and we're going to tear apart its page from the Simple English Wiktionary to see what secrets are hiding in plain sight. Let's just dive right in and see what one entry can tell us about language itself.
So what can we actually learn from a single web page about one word? Well, it turns out a whole lot. You have to think of this entry less like a definition and more like a linguistic time capsule. It's packed with all these little codes and connections that tell a much bigger story about English.
Okay, first up, let's start with the most basic part of any word, how it sounds. How do we turn the letters E-X-A-M-P-L-E into something we can actually say? Well, the dictionary gives us a super precise guide.
You know those weird symbols you see right next to the word? That's not a typo. That's the IPA, or the International Phonetic Alphabet. It's basically a universal instruction manual for pronunciation, where every single symbol stands for one and only one specific sound.
And this is where the IPA is just brilliant, because it captures those little regional differences. So for the UK pronunciation on the left, see that aw symbol? That gives you that longer R sound, like in example. But then for the US on the right, it's an A symbol. That's the short A sound you get in a word like cat. So you get example. It's a tiny change in the symbol, but it makes a huge difference in the sound.
And that's not all. The page also shows us the word syllables, example. This tells you the natural breaks in the word, which is actually super useful for writing and just for understanding the rhythm of how it's spoken.
All right, so we know how to say it. Now what does example actually mean? The Wiktionary entry breaks it down into two main definitions.
So the first meaning is the one we all use every day, right? An example is just one thing that stands for a whole group of things, and the synonym they give, representative, really hits the nail on the head.
And here it is in action. This sentence is perfect. It uses specific items, a baseball, a football, to represent that whole big category of balls. It's simple, clear, and just works.
Okay, now for the second definition. This one's a little more abstract. In this case, an example isn't just a representative, it's more like a standard to follow. The key synonym here is model. You know, like when you set an example for someone else.
This sentence makes that second meaning really concrete. The finished model airplane is the perfect guide, right? It's the ideal you're trying to copy when you build your own. You know, no word is ever an island. It's always part of this huge, sprawling network connected to other words and even other languages. And this dictionary page gives us a little peek into that web. Just look at this little family of related words. If you exemplify something, you are a perfect example of it. Someone's behavior can be exemplary, a model for everyone else. You can totally see how they all share that same root idea.
And these connections go totally global. This one page for the word example links to translations in 59 different languages. 59! That's incredible! It just goes to show you how universal and truly essential this concept is.
So, we've got pronunciation, definitions, connections. You think that's everything. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, a kind of secret classification system hidden at the very bottom of the page.
The Simple English Wiktionary is made for learners, and it says right there that example is a basic word. But what does that actually mean? Why this word specifically?
The clue is right there, just tucked away at the very end. If you scroll all the way down, you'll find these strange-looking category tags. They're so easy to ignore. I bet you've scrolled past them 1,000 times, but they are the key to this whole thing.
So what are these codes, right? BNC1 basically means it's one of the most common words used in a huge collection of British texts. But the really interesting one, the one that tells the story, is BE850. That's not just a random jumble of letters and numbers. It's a code that points to a really fascinating piece of history.
B850 stands for Basic English 850. This was a specially curated list of 850 words put together back in the 1930s. And they were chosen because, with just these 850 words, you could explain almost any idea. It's like a foundational toolkit for the entire English language.
And that's the big secret here. The word example isn't on this list just because it's used a lot. No, it was deliberately chosen to be a cornerstone word, an essential tool for teaching, learning, and just communicating clearly. It's part of a system.
And that just leaves you with this really cool thought, right? How many of the other basic words you use every single day are also part of this hidden system? The next time you look up a word, scroll all the way to the bottom. You might just find out it's not just a word, it's a carefully chosen tool in a grand design to make language a little easier for everyone.